The 2K Sports Pregame Show.
NBA on 2K Sports. Ernie Johnson with colleagues Shaq and Ken Smith. Our featured matchup tonight out in Toronto, where the Raptors will be going up against the Indiana Pacers. Taking a look at the Pacers, they're not satisfied with the record over the last 10 games. Under 500 basketball, just not good enough. Looking to improve tonight. And we all know that DeMar DeRozan is an incredible scorer. But one of the big reasons why he's so good often gets overlooked. It's his footwork. Some would say it's the best in the game at his position.
Yeah, he can protect the ball and create space. I know you guys saying this is not a word. His feet work.
It's footwork.
Feet work is amazing.
Okay.
Foot
he
is
has
one.
feet.
Yeah, feet. And both of
But
his
they
feet
don't
go to work.
together.
Well, tell me this. If you have great hand-eye coordination, is it great hands-eyes coordination?
Yes.
No, it's great hand-eye coordination.
No, it's hands-eyes.
Kenny, please.
I'm
Take my
speechless.
side.
I'm speechless.
Take my
because,
side.
You know, first of all, he has a great step-through move. That's what really, and he gets to the rim. He's always
And he
in
hits
control.
tough shots.
He hits tough shots. And I always say this, Ernie, if you don't, he plays chest to chest, so he plays chesses to chesses.
Chesses to chesses.
I have a question for the panel.
What is your question?
One goose is what?
Geese.
One goose is a
What's
goose.
a goose?
And more than one goose is?
Geese.
Geese.
All right, one moose is a what?
Moose.
Moose.
More than one moose. Meese. Thank you very much.
It's not meese. It's not meese.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Goose, geese, moose, meese.
Footwork, feet work.
Same thing.
Chesses, chesses.
Hands-eyes coordination.
Same thing, Ernie.
Man.
It's Eastern Conference time for the traveling Indiana Pacers today. Well, what better way to spend a Monday night than with the 2K Sports team and the NBA? Welcome, everyone. This is Kevin Harlan, along with Greg Anthony and Doris Burke. And David Aldridge will be on our sideline tonight reporting. Raptors make a quick stop here at home before heading back out on the road. Looking at their performance last year, they're about where you'd expect them to be, guys. They'd like to take that next step in a positive direction here, Steve, with a win.
And I think for Toronto, they haven't exploded out of the gates this season like we've come to expect, but the wins are still coming in bunches.
Well, it speaks volumes that they're able to win without being in their A place, in their A game. Once they really start to gel, it's going to be very hard to slow them down.
And with pregame routines coming to an end, we're just about ready for our tip-off. First, though, let's get a report from the sideline and say hello to David Aldridge.
Well, Kevin, one of the strengths of this Toronto Raptors team is its continuity. DeMar DeRozan said it goes a long way. Everybody knows everybody's game. It's just second nature now. Sometimes chemistry can beat talent, and I think we have that chemistry, given they have seen a lot and grown a lot together.
That shared experience and corporate knowledge, so important, DA. Thank you. And Indiana opting to trade Paul George this summer. Doris, never easy to let a superstar go.
No, it isn't, Kevin, but with Paul George looking to contend for a title and increasingly voicing his dissatisfaction, it was probably the right choice because you don't want to lose him next summer and get nothing in return.
And so off the tip, it's Toronto. All fueled up and ready to go. Let's check out who's on the floor, courtesy of Gatorade. On the court for Indiana, Collison and Oladipo pair at the 1 and the 2. Young and Turner up front, and it's Bogdanovich in at the 3 slot. Now here's DeRozan. He's a guy we see deliver on a nightly basis, averaging about 24.5 points a game.
I think the fans always hope for the spectacular with DeMar DeRozan, but those mid-range are just money.
And DeMar DeRozan, a multiple All-Star, last season a career high for him in scoring.
Yeah, this guy has become dominant on the offensive end. If you want to nitpick his game, you could say he could be a better defender. And certainly, with his ability to rebound, his athleticism, I think he's just scratching the surface on that end.
Here's Powell, following the score by Miles Turner. Valanciunas with a screen on Collison. Just 5 to shoot. Young with the steal. Collison kicks to Oladipo. Lowry against Collison. Turner with a screen on Valanciunas. Here's Young. And that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle and 2 shots coming up.
And Thaddeus Young he's got a unique offensive skill set. I mean, he really is able to score over bigger players with just an array of little hooks and floaters and off-balance shots in the lane.
That free throw good from Thaddeus Young. And Greg, at about 6'8", what is it that enables Young to finish so well inside?
I think it's more finesse than power. Not a lot of free throws for him, but he can get his shot off quickly before the shot blockers have time to gather.
Nogueira, he's checked in for the Raptors. C.J. Miles comes in for Serge Ibaka.
You hear this consistently about Thaddeus Young. He's going to do whatever you ask of him. He'll start, he'll come off the bench, but he is going to impact the game.
And finished off by DeRozan.
Nice there, getting the reverse. Love that. And the fans got a little bit of a show there.
Guys, that one definitely had a little something extra on it. Here's Sabonis, 17 points in his last outing. Young against Miles. Young on the follow.
Listen, we know this about Thaddeus Young. He has very long arms. He's a nuisance on the glass. Big-time energy guy.
Joseph against Lowry. Kicks it to Powell. He dishes it to DeRozan. Over Oladipo. And the Raptors tack on 2 more.
Well, for all the athleticism he possesses, DeMar DeRozan's old-fashioned jumper is really the staple of his game.
It's all tied in Toronto. The second quarter coming up right after this break, so don't go anywhere. Well, it's been a tight one so far as we get the second quarter going back here. Taking a look here at the Raptors' performance here, guys. What have they been doing or not doing, in your opinion?
Well, already in the first period, they found ways to get this offense ramped up.
Well, I think one key is they've controlled the tempo so far. And I know it's early, but it helps to have this kind of lead.
Doors with every team looking to spread the floor, get that space. Most big men are being asked to increase their range. Is the practice time going into that taking away from working, for instance, on other fundamentals that a big guy should be working on?
Here's how you know this is for real. When you hear Dwight Howard talking about the fact that this guy is going to spend an entire summer trying to develop the range because he wants to extend his playing career.
Sure.
Dwight Howard at one time was the single most dominant back-to-the-basket low-post center. They surrounded him with shooters. They put him in pick and roll, and he was an absolute monster. You know what? I don't know if it'll take away from the other fundamentals for the center. I do know that the role of center has drastically changed in the NBA.
Joseph runs the point with DeRozan on his side. They're the backcourt. Nogueira out there with C.J. Miles. And it's Anunoby in its small forward. So that's the 5 in the game for Toronto. And on our sideline, our reporter, David Aldridge.
Well, guys, Raptors coach Dwayne Casey talked about the chemistry on his team. He said, we couldn't be better. There's no ego, no hidden agendas. Guys understand their roles. Kyle Lowry told me we're a complete team, 15 deep, and we really mean that. You never know whose time it's going to be. Kevin?
And DA depth is a crucial part of any team's success. Knowing you can rely on your teammates to step up is huge. First one falls for him. And the Raptors with a strong bench unit.
Well, Kev, if you look at what's called the, quote, net rating for their bench, overall they were third best last season. And to me, that goes directly to the ability in their front office. Great scouting, great analytics, and always able to find contributors to fill out their roster.
Both free throws good from DeRozan.
Boy, just never a good idea to give this guy too many chances at the line. He's going to cash in.
They set the screen. Pass to Leaf. Over Ibaka. Shot's good by Leaf. Leaf's got the lead up to 2 now for the Pacers. Toronto with the ball. They couldn't put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with Boston.
And probably expected to win that game, and maybe that caused them to come out a little flat. Just a bit of complacency.
Now, here's Miles. He's coming off a 10-point game against Boston. Takes the 3, and Wright with the basket on the assist from Miles. Wright's got himself going there, his first points of the game on the deep ball. Pass to Leaf. Turner with the screen. It's stolen by Valanciunas. 5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. And Ibaka kicks to DeRozan. Back to Ibaka. Ibaka sets the pick for Wright. Pass to Valanciunas. And it's Valanciunas finishing it off.
Kevin, I like the physicality on that play by Jonas Valanciunas. Simply powers through the contact, showing he can give it as well as take it.
Collison for 3, and it would have counted had it fallen, but it's offline. And so it's a close game as we wrap up the first half of basketball. The Raptors out in front. They lead by 3. We'll be back shortly live from the Air Canada Centre in downtown Toronto.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
We so hope you enjoyed our first half. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith. This is the halftime report. The first quarter for the Raptors was fairly even. Nothing seemed to give way on either side of the scoring column as they wrapped up the period all knotted up. They had a slight edge on the scoreboard in the second quarter, but only by the slimmest of margins. And taking a look at the Raptors, Kenny, what did you see out there?
Well, their shooting accuracy was on point. There was good play calling, of course, by the coaching staff, but it was great execution by the team.
Shaq, your take on Indiana.
Well, on offense, I'd like to see them play inside out more. Attack the basket, generate easy points. And then once the defense collapses, kick it out to the perimeter for open looks. Trust me, I know. Rick Fox, Big Shot Bob, that's all we did.
And that will conclude our halftime presentation. We take you back to Kevin Harlan for the second half.
Welcome back to Toronto, where the gigantic CN Tower dominates the skyline. The third quarter now beginning. Both sides looking to pull away in the last half of the game. You gotta like what DeMar DeRozan has done in this game.
And they haven't needed a lot of shots to get their points. Just tremendous efficiency here in the first half.
I think you can look to specifically the patience and the shot creation. Really solid effort.
Pacers trail by 3, and on the floor for Nate McMillan starting the second half. Young and Turner up front. Collison and Oladipo pair at the 1 and the 2. And it's Bogdanovich in at the small forward position.
Well, Bogdanovich looking so comfortable close to the rim, just extends past the defense beautifully. I think if you think about the Pacers in the last decade and the value they have found in the draft, right? Danny Granger gets taken at 17th. Roy Hibbert at 17th. Lance Stevenson actually at 40th. Paul George was 10th. Miles Turner 11th. That's a very good track record.
Now, great look on that. Just a little out of rhythm.
Yeah, he looked like he forced that a little bit. Just needs to take his time. Got to make these shots right now.
And the Pacers trading away draft picks in recent seasons for players like Luis Scola and Doris Thaddeus Young. Given their great draft record, does that surprise you?
Well, I think when you consider their keen eye for rookies and the ability to evaluate talent, it makes you wonder why they've boxed themselves in. Certainly you wonder if that had to do with the pressure to contend.
Shooting 2.
And the first one at the line is good. And the Raptors, unique in the NBA, they have a whole nation behind them.
And basketball continues to gain in popularity, especially with the younger generation in Canada. The Raptors are coming to relevance at the perfect time, and the rabid fan base energized by how competitive this group's been the last couple seasons.
Well, Darren Collison going through the free agency process this last summer. Greg, Indiana jumped at the chance to add him to the roster.
Yeah, and with Collison, his ability to play in so many ways, that is what made teams go after him. He doesn't always take a big signing to change the complexity of a team. Getting solid contributors like Collison go a long way in building the foundation of a team.
And another lead change. The fans are really getting their money's worth here tonight.
Well, this is what they pay to see, right? Competitive, close games are simply the best to be involved in.
Third quarter here and 5 lead changes so far.
And guys, neither team has been able to pull away.
Back to Ibaka. Over Young. And again, it's Toronto converting.
You simply cannot let Serge Ibaka get into a rhythm from that range. His mid-range is as good as it gets.
Here's Young. A beautiful reverse layup. Young's got 6.
That's as good as it gets right there. Beautiful reverse layup in traffic.
Now here is Lowry. He's been patient so far. Nothing yet on the scoreboard. With 1 on the clock. He got it up that time, but it wouldn't fall for him. We're at the end of the third, and we've still got a close one. Pacers lead by 1. And right after this, we'll bring you the start of the final quarter right here on 2K Sports. And from the most recent huddle, let's listen in on head coach Dwayne Casey.
But man, we got to get down and get engaged until the end. All right, be precise, send the ball to the screen, come across the screen, focus on the defensive end. Let's go.
There you hear Dwayne Casey asking for more precision on offense and more attention to detail on defense.
Yeah, carry out your assignments on both ends. Do the little things that ultimately make a big difference in the outcome of the game.
Thanks for joining us again as we get set for the fourth quarter. A terrific game so far. Lowry and DeRozan are the 1 and the 2. They create so much offense. C.J. Miles is out there with Powell, and it's Valanciunas in at the center position. So that's the 5 in the game for Toronto.
Well, you knew he was going to come through there. And the more that's riding on it, the better he seems to be.
And here's Stevenson. And that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle and 2 shots coming up. It's on Jonas Valanciunas.
And really the defense fouling there to prevent the layup, but that's exactly what you need to do.
Shots.
Good on the first, and that narrows the gap to 1. Stevenson drops them both.
Well, in a game this tight, you can't overlook how important those free throws could be.
DeRozan against Stevenson. Powell kicks to Miles. Outside for Lowry. And the Raptors hit again from deep.
It took a lot of work for Kyle Lowry to become this dangerous from three-point land, and downtown is one terrific option among many for this guy.
Now here's Stevenson. Releases from 15. They get the rebound. Good on that shot, and with that, the Toronto lead is cut down to 1 on the bucket from Turner.
Just a grinder, always doing the dirty work on the offensive glass, and that's one of the things he brings to the table.
And it's going to be out of bounds. The Pacers will take it.
Boy, how big might this sort of mistake play out? You never know, but sometimes these are game changers.
We've got 1:08 left in the fourth quarter. Stevenson outside. It's stolen by DeRozan. Lowry kicks to Powell. Good!
Fearless, decisive, on point.
Which is exactly what you have to be, especially when your team needs a bucket.
Now here's Collison. Turner with a screen on Lowry. Here's Stevenson. Buries it. And that shot brings them to within just 1.
And it's great to see Bogdanović spreading the ball out. I mean, possesses good size, which allows him to see over defenders.
Powell gets to DeRozan. Over Stevenson. It falls!
Oh, my goodness. You could tell DeMar DeRozan demanded the basketball. He wanted the chance to be the deciding factor.
Time called here. Indiana decides to talk it over. They trail by 3. There's 31 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Guys, your thoughts?
And usually you want to go for the 2-for-1 here to maximize the clock.
And now we get the chance to present our Jordan Player of the Game, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, he's always going to be a main scorer for them, and tonight they really let him loose. Almost half their points have come through him, and we're so used to seeing him have nights like this that we almost take it for granted.
Serge Ibaka, he's checked in for Toronto. Now let's go to the sideline and catch up with our Hall of Famer, David Aldridge.
Hey guys, I was able to hear Nate McMillan talk to his team during the break. With this game in the balance, he really came after his guys. He said, this is our time. Right now, be in the moment with each other. Do your job, and I promise you we'll win this game. Back to you.
Here's Lowry. Back to Miles. To win it. It's good! Buries the game-winning shot!
And he wins it at the buzzer.
Oh, an astonishing way to end this game. Some serious last-second heroics.
And so the big win by Toronto in a tight game. That was a fun night of basketball and fabulous finish as they continued to wait out until the very last moment to seal it.
And there are so many times when you see these tight games won at home, that advantage of having that crowd behind you oftentimes is the ultimate X factor.
And now let's catch up with David Aldridge, who's standing by from the sideline. All right, Dave.
DeMar, big effort tonight. What is the state of mind of this club right now?
We're focusing in on the defensive end. We know if we get stops, we can definitely score whenever we want.
And you got it done tonight, DeMar. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
All right, David, thank you. And that about wraps it up. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, and the rest of our terrific crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. So long, everyone.